Welcome to the Full-Time FBA Show. In each episode, it's our goal to help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income selling almost anything on Amazon. And now, your hosts of the show, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman.
Hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. We're on episode number 302, and today we're talking about, should your FBA business be a sprint or a marathon? And here with me to talk about this idea of sprint versus marathon is Stephen, my business partner. Are you ready to run the race, Stephen?
I mean, it is a race, and I'm running it. Let's just talk about, should we run at full speed or take things nice and easy? Or is there another answer?
Well, I just want to prepare everybody. You're going to get a lot of running metaphors. So we'll try to keep the puns at a minimum, but get ready.
Yes, we're going to talk about that today on the Full-Time FBA Show.
Today we've got a great show for you and talking through this concept of sprinting versus marathon in your business. But before we get into it, I want to make sure that you know we have a really exciting, and I mean really exciting.
Really, all caps underlined bold.
Yes. We have a really exciting new training opportunity coming up for you, and you'll want to make sure that you listen all the way to the end of this episode to hear about it. And we do want to remind you also to make sure you're signed up for our email newsletter, because that's the best place where we keep you up to date on trainings, coupons, Amazon news, and more. So go to fulltimefba.com/subscribe. Make sure you're signed up for the newsletter, and especially with this new program coming up, you're not going to want to miss any emails. Again, we'll go into more details at the end, so please listen all the way to that segment. How's that for a teaser?
What are we going to talk about? I mean, I like it. I'm intrigued. I also know what we're going to talk about, and it's going to be good.
Good. That's what I hoped, was that I could generate a little intrigue there.
Well, today we're going to challenge your assumptions about how to run your FBA business, and we also want to give you some actionable takeaways. So buckle up and get ready.
I am ready.
Yes, and if you're listening to this in the car, you're already buckled up, so you're already ahead of the pace. Let's get into it. So the metaphor that we're talking about, I've used it at Full-Time FBA in the past, and I mean, we use it quite a lot, especially with our coaching clients, is that building a business with a long-term success is like running a marathon. And I love this metaphor. Rebecca and I, we've done some running in the past. We've run 5Ks and 10Ks together, like the Cowtown in Fort Worth. We've ran the Turkey Trot before in both Fort Worth and Houston. Rebecca's even done a couple of half marathons in the past. And it's a lot of fun to experience race day. I mean, there's excitement. But before that day, before race day, there's the training that needs to be done. You can't just show up the morning of the race and expect to keep pace with the people who've spent every day training and building up their mileage. You can't eat the same old junk food and drinking only sodas and expect to have the same kind of results as someone who fuels their running with whole foods and lots of water and electrolytes. See, we love this metaphor and how it can relate to building a business with intention versus just running a business by just throwing a bunch of stuff together on Amazon and seeing if that works.
Yeah, we do love the marathon metaphor, but something else we've been toying with and implementing in our own business more often lately is the concept of sprinting. You may have also heard this called by other names. You've got sprints, boot camps, challenges. They're all the same concept. It's an intense period of time to attempt a difficult task that's really going to push you forward at top speed, top intensity in a relatively short amount of time, and it's designed as a give it all you've got type event. Mm-hmm. So to continue with the running metaphor with your business, a sprint is going to happen when you set aside a period of time to focus on a particular area of your business, and you're going to work at it as fast and hard as you can during that time with the purpose of stretching yourself to make quick improvements and see quick results. And all of this stands in contrast to a marathon mindset where you keep a slow, steady, consistent pace, not your fastest pace, but a consistent pace that you can maintain for a long period of time so that you can experience sustainable results and make dedicated progress.
So to sum all that up, a sprint is intense, focused, short-term efforts that lead to fast feedback. You can get some quick wins with a sprint, but you can't sustain that intensity for the long term. And then there's a marathon that's going to require steady, consistent progress for a long period of time. And with that, you're going to see sustainable results that you can repeat again and again, but it can also get boring and feel like a slog.
So which one is better? I know that's what we're all thinking now when you've got these two methods you're considering and they each have pros and cons. Our human brains naturally want to split things into good and bad, right and wrong. So should we have a marathon mindset in our business or do we use sprints? Sprinting good and marathon bad.
Or vice versa.
Well, you probably suspect what's coming from us next. We want to present a third alternative. In our own business, we've been using the concept of sprinting within a marathon to maintain our long-term progress while getting bursts of growth from sprints along the way. We're going to get into the details of how we're doing that within our business, but first I want to say something that I hope you don't need to hear. I'm sort of saying this tongue-in-cheek, but I never know what people are going to take away from our podcast. We are not giving you exercise or fitness advice here, and I honestly don't know if sprint within a marathon is something runners even do. I wouldn't try it. I know that interval training is a thing, but I would imagine a long-distance runner wouldn't throw a random sprint into the middle of their race. So, obligatory disclaimer there. We're giving you ways to grow your business, not ways to improve your running.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're onto something here. We could start a new fitness craze.
Nope, not the point of this podcast.
Okay, fine. Anyway, back to this whole idea of sprinting with the marathon, which we just love. With your Amazon FBA business, you can do sprints within your marathon. And I want you to think of the progress you're currently making in your Amazon business as overall, you're in a marathon. But you're going to want to be in this for the long haul. And you want your business to last for years. And you want it to have some times of sustained profits. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-slow plan, where you work and build up and grow your profits over the long period of time. There's going to be times where you need to work with intensity for a short period of time so that you can make quick progress, where you cover a lot of ground really fast. I mean, an example of this would be if you do a boot camp to get your Amazon business off the ground. We've got the Jumpstart Amazon course that's designed to help get your business up and going, running quickly to a jumpstart. We've got 1,000 customers that have taken the course and enjoy it. Another example would be if you're learning a new skill and you want to focus on that training and implementation of that new skill for a focused period of time so you can see the results of it quickly. You can do a quick sprint or a challenge or do an all-in learning of a new sourcing method. For example, a new tool that you're adding to your business that you can add and test it out and see how it works. You do that sprint for a specific period of time, say a 3-day, 10-day, or even up to a 30-day sprint, and then you switch back to your overall marathon mindset. You're not going to be able to keep sprinting for months. You'll slow back down to a sustainable marathon pace.
You can think of it this way. If you need to launch something new in your business, if you need to break through a profit plateau, if you're trying to establish a new routine in your systems, if you need a quick cash infusion in your business, those are all times where you can implement a sprint. And then on the other hand, if you're building up your back-end systems for your business, if you're establishing relationships with wholesale companies, if you're building a team of virtual assistants, if you're growing your profits snowball over a period of several months leading up to Q4, those are all times when you need a marathon mindset. Your progress is going to be slow and steady, and you might not see results after a week of working at that area of your business. But if you keep up your consistent pace, you'll be able to look back after several months and see the growth.
So how do you know when to stick with your marathon plan or when to use a sprint? That's a good question, Stephen. I'm glad you asked. Let's answer it. Okay, good idea. Stop talking to yourself. Okay, in general, my advice is usually to keep at your marathon plan. Look at what you need to do to impact your business over the next several months. Look at your quarterly and annual goals and do today what it takes to make progress with those goals. You're going to need to have some self-motivation here where you give yourself what it takes to stay the course. And an important tip in that is to know your why. Remind yourself regularly why you're working on this business so that you can provide for your family, or maybe so that you can have some financial freedom, or to get out of debt, or to prepare for retirement, whatever your why might be. It's good to remind yourself of that. But if you're experiencing a plateau in your Amazon business, if you feel you're feeling stuck, you feel like you might need a sprint for a while, then you can consider joining a challenge group that can give you that kind of push to make solid progress in a relatively short amount of time so that you can have the momentum to jump back into the marathon. Some of those times might be when your Amazon disbursements are plateaued at a certain level and you can't seem to get beyond that point in order to reach your next goal, and you just try to work harder, but it's not budging the needle. Maybe you need to try something different and have a sprint to push you past that plateau. And maybe you're wanting to get a boost of cash to help your profit snowball in anticipation of the big Q4 selling season. You can go do a sourcing sprint to focus intently on maybe sourcing twice as much as you usually do so that you can get a profit boost in the fall that leads up to investing all of that profit that you're making into Q4 inventory, where you can really see a hockey stick of your FBA sales charts.
Truly, we all need the occasional push in our FBA business to help us get over that hump that's holding us back. And so here's what we're so excited to tell you about. We're going to do a Momentum FBA 3-day sprint starting on August 4th. We are so excited about this, and we want you to have what it takes to run the marathon of FBA for the long term, but we also want you to get some momentum and energy in your business. So starting on August 4th, we'll have 3 days of our live sprint that we're doing online. We'll be doing it via Zoom, where we'll all meet together, and we're going to have for you what it takes to push through the current plateau that you're facing, especially leading up to Q4. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a plan in place for you to run the FBA race in the months ahead as you go into Q4. We've been working on this for a while, and we're so excited to bring it to you, so you don't want to miss it. You can sign up at fulltimefba.com/sprint, and that will get you a seat at the Momentum FBA 3-day sprint, and you'll be ready to take steps for this next phase of your FBA journey, whatever level you're at. Again, sign up for the 3-day sprint at fulltimefba.com/sprint. We can't wait to see you there. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. As a reminder, all of the show notes and links that were mentioned in this episode can be found at fulltimefba.com/302 because we're on episode number 302.
And next week on the Full-Time FBA Show, we are going to be talking about how to find and gain that momentum you need in your Amazon FBA business. And we'll talk through that next week on the Full-Time FBA Show.
That's all for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. So head over to fulltimefba.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes and links from this episode. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter, where you'll get several free downloads of our popular and helpful Amazon FBA resources. Now, take action on what you've learned today so you can find success at turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA.